Followers in the proximity of berries. Okay. How about followers who consume berries? If you are an eater of berries, which I imagine most people are, I want you to make babies. Followers in the proximity of berries consume followers who have children. Okay, that's not quite what I meant. What's up, guys? I'm Vortak, and we are back once again in Crest. It has been a very long time since I've picked up this game, but as of recording this, it now is fully released on Steam as of tomorrow. And I'm not sure if I'm going to release it today or tomorrow, but it's a pretty big deal nonetheless. They sent me an early copy of the fully updated game, and we're actually going to start a new game right now. I was playing a little bit before just to kind of feel it out again, you know, learn the ropes, and I have a relatively decent idea, I feel like, of how to start the game now, and I'm hoping this video will help you guys too kind of get the hang of it and maybe see if it's something you want to pick up for yourselves. It's actually $10 on Steam right now, and I'll link to it down below. And here we are. So as I said, it's leaving early access tomorrow, and it has aesthetically not changed a whole lot since I last played. I love the art style of this game, I always have. And the one thing about this game you'll find is it's very, very challenging. So what I've done is I've paused right off the bat because I don't want these guys doing anything. So far as it stands, everyone's pretty happy. In this game, you play God. And you write commandments to kind of tell people what you think they should do. But they're not beholden to that necessarily. As you can see, he has free will right here, right above his head, which is not personally what I need right now. I kind of need him to do what I say. So we kind of need to feel out where we are first. And it looks like we are in a jungle, but to know that, you can come down here and kind of look. Desert, savanna, jungle, and you see how the village lights up when I put my cursor on it, and then that's berries. So those are the three biomes we currently know of that might be the only ones at the moment. And that's good. So I know for a while I'm going to be telling people in the jungle to do things. And I'm going to kind of explain to you rapid fire here what all happens as I just make commandments. But there is a tutorial. I've turned it off. If this video doesn't help guide you, hopefully that will. I'm not very good at this game. I find it incredibly challenging. So, you know, we're gonna go through this together, and you're gonna see why in a second. So the first thing I can do, and really the only thing you can do in this game off the bat, is make commandments. I've told followers living in the jungle. So we need to figure out what they need first. So I click on the middle of the city, and here's a whole bunch of information. This is their cravings. They want offspring, they want food, and they want to be social. Now, I found no way to kind of encourage being social at the moment, but you can definitely have a hand in most of these things here. Over here, we'll get to that doctrine thing later. I'm trying to find... no, I guess this is the page I want. I'm trying to figure out just how much stuff they have. At the moment, all these bars are in the green. That will change rapidly as I hit play again. So I know food is going to be an issue just because I've played before. So how do we get them to get food? Well, followers living in the jungle, how about they produce berries? So now it says followers living in the jungle, pick berries. I used produce, it kind of interpreted it as pick berries. Okay, so there used to be farming in this game. I don't know if it comes back at some point, but there is not farming anymore. It starts out very rustic. They don't know how to farm at the moment. There's berry plants here. We're just going to have them pick the berries. And I'll show you this, 16 of 60 total influence. It'll cost me 4 influence to issue this commandment. You get it back as you kind of go through time here. Cycle period, it shows you we're on the first period right now. You'll notice it's kind of like a year. The seasons change, etc., etc. And I think it's halfway through a cycle, it re-ups your influence a little bit. And you can get bonuses the more they believe in you. Okay, so I've issued my first commandment. I've still not hit play yet because I'm gonna, you know, try to play this out a little bit. We issue the first commandment of get berries, and they have no associations with it yet. As time goes on, they may reinterpret what this means, and I can either bless or condemn their reinterpretation. I can also bless and condemn my own interpretation, which we'll hopefully get to later. So I've told them to pick berries. I know they're going to need food. I just know they are. The next thing I kind of want them to do is hunt, because picking berries isn't quite enough. And you can see their free will is already dictating hunting out of the gate, which is awesome. But you can see here there's different populations of animals. We got antelope, we got ostrich, there's hyenas, and I think there's also lions. I know hippos turn up at some point. Yep, here's your lions. They look a little bit ridiculous with their triangle manes. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to tell them the only option we have right now are antelope. So I'm going to tell followers in the jungle to consume the antelope. And followers living in the jungle will hunt antelope. Now, what if I did something else? What if I took away consume and replaced it with produce? Followers in the jungle will feed antelopes. There's a difference there. Producing antelope literally means we need them to produce more. Well, there's not a population crisis right now, so I don't want them to produce more antelope. I want them to eat the antelope. We could certainly create a population crisis if this gets out of hand, which I've still not figured out quite how to address that yet. But there we go. So followers will hunt antelope. So we have their food pretty covered at this point. And obviously nothing's changed because I still have it paused. But I'm going to hit play now because at this stage of the game, things are a bit slow. And you'll notice that as soon as you start playing, in a lot of these management civilization type games, you feel like you constantly need to be doing things. But what I've found about Crest, at least in my experience, is that there's really no way to constantly do things. Because all you really have control of are the commandments. And you have to hope that you issue good ones, because right here is the faith. If they have faith in you, which right now it looks like I'm pretty loved, they will do what you say. But if you let that bar fall down to hate, it doesn't matter what they need, they won't listen to you, almost seemingly out of spite. It was a problem I had playing by myself before recording this today. And I never was able to recover. I was never able to get them to love me again. And I'm not sure how I would do that. I'm sure there's a way, because it didn't end the game. It ends the game if they all perish. That didn't happen. They just kind of, I had to mine metals, and they became super greedy about it, and they never listened to me again. They became pretty woke. I was upset. So I'm trying to be really careful based on that experience. So as they gather food, I'm watching right now, and I'm trying to figure out where they're at, if I need to be making sure they gather more. And it looks like these guys are gathering a lot of berries, which is great. And the food bar remains red at the moment, but we're getting there. Right here, this represents foods, basically your food stockpiles, and it's up to medium, which is good. So that bar should be changing, I hope, any moment. You'll notice safety is kind of moving around a little bit. Safety is based on metal. Safety will increase if you have metal. Many followers in the city, and no predators within the borders. So more followers, less predators, and more metal equals safety. Great. How can we get metal? Well, I still have some influence here, so I can issue another command. How about we tell followers in the jungle that they need to produce metal? Followers living in the jungle, mine for metal. You always want to read these little interpretations, because if you accidentally put the wrong thing, like destroy followers living in the jungle, destroy metal mines. Yikes. You don't want to issue that. Once you issue these, they're there. That's it. The only way they leave is if people stop believing in them. And I guess sometimes that can work out in your favor. So I've lost 4 influence, and we're hoping that they like that, because I'm still waiting for a change here in their belief in me. Let's see. So I'm looking at these little minuses right here, and these will turn into green up arrows or red down arrows, depending on how they feel about your commandments. Because they like me, and then we're just starting out, oh, it changed right before my eyes. Okay, now I can go into this more. So they really like this commandment of picking berries, and they really like this commandment of mining metal. They see a benefit in that, and that makes it pretty nice. So what else? Right now the doctrine is profiteers. They consider themselves profiteers in this society, probably because they're mining a lot of metal. This is what happened to me last time. They're getting a lot of metal. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. We got to be careful not to get them too greedy. I don't want that. So what else is going on? They are really happy about their surplus and their esteem. They're pretty upset about their offspring, their safety, and their social. Now, offspring, you got to be careful with as well, because overpopulation, we know, leads to all kinds of problems. But let's say, see, I want to wait on this, but let me pause again. I want to show you guys something. I really want them to make babies, okay? That's important to me. But I don't want to make babies I don't want everyone to just make a ton of babies. So there's a way you can kind of prevent that. But the first thing I want to show you here is, I think, the word tree. Yes. As you can see, we have all these little diamonds here, diamond-shaped things. And these are words. I'm using words down here to kind of create commandments. Well, I unlock more as time goes on. So, for example, if I want to unlock the word ostrich, they have to hunt 4 antelope. And if I want to unlock overfed, they need to overfeed 5 followers. Overfeeding is okay, I guess, if they have the food to do so, but it can also create issues. The more words we unlock, the more specific we can get with our commandments. So I'm looking for commandments like middle-aged, which means I could say middle-aged followers, I want them to make babies. It doesn't matter what biome they live in. Middle-aged, make babies. Well, let's just use the tools we have. I haven't unlocked middle-aged yet, but what we have unlocked are berries. Followers in the proximity of berries. Okay. How about followers who... Let me look at this real quick. I need to find the right one here. Produce, don't produce, consume. How about followers who consume berries? If you are an eater of berries, which I imagine most people are, I want you to make babies. Followers in the proximity of berries consume followers who have children. Okay, that's not quite what I meant. And I'm glad I read that, because this game isn't just about them interpreting things. It's about me interpreting things. And I just almost made a big mistake. I almost had followers who are around berries, so that's everybody, consume babies, and they need babies. So I can't let them do that. I can't let them consume the babies. So let's take that away. How about followers who produce berries make some babies? Followers in the proximity of berries produce children. Now, why would that be any different from followers in the jungle? Maybe currently it's not, but we can actually migrate the society and create another city later on. I could do it now, I guess, but we just started. I mean, there's not enough followers in this city, in my opinion, so I'm not going to do that just yet. But all I can do is try to mitigate babies. I don't want too many, but I need some. There we go. So now let's hit play again. Followers in the proximity of babies, or berries, start making some babies. Now, I've kind of let a little bit of time pass, and I'm looking over here at the commandments and the popularity, and it looks like my newest commandment, followers around berries make babies, isn't very popular. And usually when I make an offspring commandment, it hasn't been popular. Not sure why, but what I'm not really worried about is the fact that they have a lot of faith in me right now. It's okay. I wonder if I had told them not to mine metal right off the bat, if they wouldn't be profiteers and perhaps they'd focus more on their own, well-being for the future, meaning like make babies. But because the first thing I had them do was mine metal, I think I might have already started them down the path of greed, because they're profiteers and they don't really want to spend time making babies. So we just got to be careful at this point. I'm just kind of waiting right now for some associations, and here's one right now. I'm going to pause real quick. So followers in the proximity of antelopes produce children. So this association isn't necessarily good or bad. I'm kind of like, well, berries, antelope, whatever you guys want. There's enough of both of those around. As long as you're making children, it's fine. Now, I can actually bless or condemn this. If I bless it, that will just solidify their interpretation of the commandment. If I tell them no, that's not what I meant, my hope is that they'll go, oh, okay, well, I guess we were wrong, and they would just go back to trying to reinterpret the commandment for themselves. We got to look at all of these. These pop up a lot, and it looks like that's the only one. Now, perhaps that's because they didn't like this one. Should I reward that behavior and bless this, or should I condemn it, or should I just leave it alone? I'm probably just going to leave it alone, and hope we get more population growth. You start with 4 followers, but we are about to have more. You can see little baby meters on these 2 are about to max out, which I think means they're about to have their first children. So let's just speed up here and wait a little bit. We do, in fact, right here have, I'm trying to get over there, have a baby. Okay, great. So they're making babies. Good. Let's just hope that they don't make too many. I may have screwed up at some point. I think when I was talking about producing and hunting antelope, I may have screwed up and accidentally told them to feed the antelope instead of hunt them. I do that a lot. I always mix up those two, consume and produce, because they kind of change depending on if you're selecting berries or antelope or whatever. So you guys might have already caught that and told me in the comments, but I just noticed followers living in the jungle feed antelope. I'm going to go ahead and condemn that. Now, that -2 influence from me. It takes 4 influence to make a new commandment. It takes 2 influence to either bless or condemn a commandment. And what I've just done is I've basically started the process of getting rid of this commandment. And my goal is so they no longer believe this. We could have kept it, and we may still end up keeping it, but what I can do to try and fix this, and maybe it becomes a balancing act, but I can say followers in the jungle will consume. Come on, where is it? Consume the antelope. Please, and thank you. Consume the antelope. Followers living in the jungle, hunt antelope. Good. Okay, great. I have an idea. How about we do something I failed to do last time and start creating a new city by telling them to migrate? So here's what we can do. We can basically tell right off the bat people who live in the jungle to migrate somewhere else. I'm noticing some space out here in the savannah. There's a lot of animals out there that can hunt, and if we get another civilization going, it'll be a lot easier to start balancing a little bit more. I'm hoping to show you guys that and kind of test some theories myself. There's only one problem. I need to unlock some more words. The words specifically I'd like to unlock are either middle-aged or young. A number of children have moved out, so if 2 children move out, we get a young. A younger follower is grown into middle age. This could happen very soon, as long as we let time keep ticking. 4 of them need to grow up to learn middle-aged. That's interesting. How about we, let's just speed up time a bit, hope nothing goes wrong, and unlock some new words, because I don't want to tell followers who live in the jungle to move this to the savannah. I feel like that's how you crumble a city. But I can tell followers of a certain age that it's time to move. And that could create a new city, I hope. Now, as I was waiting, something cool happened. That commandment earlier that we said, okay, no more, that antelope feeding commandment is gone. So I had condemned it, and they eventually stopped believing in it, which is really good. That means they must have some faith in me, and they do. So that's awesome. The offspring one, oh, that one's gone too. See, that's the thing. If they don't like something, they'll stop believing in it. So they're not going to make babies anytime soon. But you know what? That's okay, because we actually lucked out. They made a ton of babies, and then they said, okay, we have enough babies. They did that on their own. So I might have done something well, or, you know, I might be getting pretty good at this, or maybe it just worked out for now, and that's going to come back and bite me. Time is still sped up. It's getting dark right now. I'm just kind of waiting for these guys to grow up. As they do, you'll notice that this thing keeps ticking up at the top here, and I haven't really addressed this yet. This is basically just a whole list of things going on around you, and you can choose to ignore it to your own detriment, like I have, or you can maybe pay attention to it. A lot of times it pops up, I paused it again, when a new association appears. So what's this one? Followers in proximity of berries pick berries. Well, that's interesting. I've told followers in the jungle to pick berries. Now they're interpreting that as, well, if you see berries, just pick them. Maybe that's because right now only people live in the jungle. This association may have popped up because I blessed the commandment, and so they're trying to really, like, take to it. What about this one? Okay, followers in proximity of antelopes terraform your surrounding jungle. Why? I don't like that. I don't know what terraforming the jungle does. Perhaps they're building there, so they're starting to terraform it. I could leave it for now, but it's weird that followers living in the jungle mine for metal kind of translated to if you see antelopes surround, you know, your jungle. That's almost not even close to what I actually wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and condemn that one. That made them not like me. You noticed an instant change in the indicator here, making it indifferent, right? I noticed that immediately when I hit condemn. They don't like that. They don't like when their interpretations are condemned. They feel like they're punished, I guess. But you know what? That's not what I said. I said to mine for metal. You've no business terraforming. Mine for metal, damn it. Oh, they became cannibals. Followers who have children consume followers in the savannah. What? That's not at all what I said. I asked you to hunt antelope, not consume followers in the savannah. So that's not good, because I actually want them to move to the savannah, and that's not going to go too well. I'm going to go ahead and condemn that, and they're even more upset with me now. They don't really interpret my commandments very well, and that's a bad sign. That means things are starting to fall apart a little bit, and I'm starting to worry, because as this bar dips down, I start to lose influence bonuses, which makes it harder to make commandments, which makes it harder to get them doing things I want them to do. And I'm desperate to get them to move to another area. I'm starting to wonder if I should just tell all followers in the jungle to move, because we really need to spread out for our own survival's sake. Okay, young followers, migrate to the savannah. Boom. I hope that works. So now, I'm assuming this is the savannah, and I'm assuming they will move there as soon as I hit play. There we go. Oh, and I hope it works, because, you know, we could really use the balance right now. Like, for example, if I have followers... Why did it turn red? Why did everything turn red? Is there a heat wave? I don't know. if we have followers in the savannah hunting antelope, or let's say they hunt ostriches, that means we have a little more control. Okay, followers in the jungle, you hunt the antelope. Followers in the savannah, you hunt the ostrich. And that way, not all of your followers are doing things. But if you only have followers living in the jungle, you're essentially telling all followers to do X. And I don't really want that. I want to kind of like, be a little more meticulous than that. Now, one mistake I made is that there are no young followers. And had I just been patient and moved my cursor over here, I would have seen the X. Maybe there were a second ago, but now there's not. But that means no one is moving into the savannah. So I have a commandment that's basically useless, which sucks because I don't have much influence right now, and I don't want to waste it on recreating a commandment that's like, okay, fine, followers that are X move to the savannah. So again, we're playing the waiting game. Hopefully they have some more babies. I could try again for the baby commandment. Let's see how we're doing on followers. We have a lot of followers. We almost don't want them to. I mean, this one's making a baby right now. We almost don't want to have too many, but we're about to lose 2, and then we'll be back down to 4, because these guys are getting old. Alright. What should I do? How about we do... See, we still haven't unlocked middle age. Wait, one more. A young follower has grown into middle-aged follower. So we're not going to get that. Okay, fine. Fine. You know what? Followers in the jungle. Go ahead and produce some offspring. Followers living in the jungle produce children. Do it again. Dang it. Now, at this point, as I wait for life to go on, a few things have happened that I haven't really addressed yet. We've had some followers die, and some time has passed, so I want to show you guys a couple of tabs here that I'm still not too good with, but maybe you guys can figure it out. This is when followers die, they can basically give you advice. You can click on them, and they tell you what kind of community they live in. If you click on them again, sometimes they have some advice for you, or they have some insight. It was tradition to always have food. I don't remember a time when there wasn't any. That's actually good. That means you've been pretty good at like keeping them fed, and that's usually they just have one piece of advice for you. So when followers die, certain ones become, I guess, ghosts, and they can kind of tell you how life was back when they were alive. And then there's this one. This guy will keep track of everything that's kind of happened, and you can kind of scroll through this, and you can see the timeline just kind of swirling down, and every time something happens, something that's kind of big, it just keeps a little tick mark here, and so cycle 3 period 4, we forgot a commandment. That was followers in the jungle hunt antelope. That's great. So now there's going to be antelope overpopulation, most likely. But yes, so these things can be helpful to you, I suppose. Maybe you can learn from past mistakes. To me, this is a lot of studying. This is something I will not be visiting a whole lot. And maybe it's just there for fun, but it's part of, I think, the new update. Just having a story kind of play out, which is cool. I'm not against that at all. It's just not something I currently find helpful. But that's just because maybe I haven't gotten too far in the game yet. Perhaps that becomes more relevant later on. So I just wanted to show you guys those as we go through this. So more and more time has passed. It feels like a whole new generation of followers have stepped in at this point. And, they range from middle-aged to very young. They don't seem to feel any different about me than their ancestors did, and that's a shame. I was kind of hoping that I could kind of wiggle my way back into their lives, but that's not really going too well. So I'm going to try one last thing here and see if it works. The thing I kind of been avoiding the whole time. How about we do this? Followers in the jungle, all of you, migrate to the savannah, just to see if I can make this new city thing happen. It's important. It gives me a lot more to do if I have a couple cities to manage. It's something that the tutorial urges you to do a little bit later on, and I'm kind of at that point again. So I'm going to hope that they do it. They seem to have been pretty perceptive of that, which is good. Now that bar moved up a little bit more, they have a little more faith. So maybe that's what I was supposed to do all along, but my worry about this, and this might be a fundamental issue, or an issue with my fundamental understanding of the game, or something the game I feel like needs to do a better job of explaining. I don't know what happens if you tell all the followers in the jungle to move. It looks like the city just, or it feels like anyway, the city's just going to stop, remaining populated. It feels like they're just literally going to move away. Oh, look! A new city! It worked! Oh, that's fantastic! Okay. Okay, good. Let me pause. What was this? What's this? Whoa, pick berries, migrate. Whoa. Are they developing associations now? There's none there. Oh, wait a minute. Followers in proximity of berries pick berries. Oh, that's all right. Well, that's weird. So now wait a minute. So we have 2 different places. And they feel differently depending on where I am, which is good. Okay. So that means followers in this new area, in the savannah, they're different. They're like, I don't know about this god guy. These followers are pissed. So it seems like all my supporters from Spider River went and started a whole new colony in the savannah, and now we can kind of start anew. This is farther than I've gotten in the game so far. This is actually really good. Oh, there's Happy now. That's great. We can tell Happy followers to do things. Well, I'm excited because I have a new area, and the first thing I can definitely do is followers in the savannah need to definitely hunt antelope, like immediately, because there are tons of antelope everywhere. It's a big population issue. Ostriches too. Do we have enough? Yep, I have enough. How about followers in the savannah? Hunt the ostrich. Good. So, depending on how that goes for them, they may like me a lot here. And that's good because if I can get even one colony on board, I have a reason to exist. I have a reason to keep going. As for... Whoa, I didn't mean to zoom in. As for Spider River, I mean, you guys just need to figure this out. They're going to keep interpreting things, and what I'm going to do is kind of check in and see how those interpretations are, and maybe I can reinstill some faith just by blessing those interpretations and showing them I support them. That's Crest, guys. I mean, I'm going to pause real quick. That is at least my interpretation of how people in your world will interpretate your commandments. I'm looking for a little bit of help here. If you guys have different interpretations of how these work, let me know in the comments, because this can be a very complex game. One thing I'll show you guys about Crest before we go is you'll notice our other islands. This all seems to be very random every time you start a new game. I've started a couple now, and I end up with a different setup every time. So I think the islands change, your starting position changes. Somehow, some way, you can kind of get those islands populated. I'm not sure if they make boats eventually or anything, or if perhaps maybe there's people here I haven't really seen yet, but I haven't really noticed any. Just a lot of animals. That looks like obsidian, and I don't think I have any obsidian on my place. Obsidian becomes necessary for creating monuments later on, and those really help. If they're building monuments, you're doing something right. So there's definitely a way to get over there. I'll let you guys kind of figure that out on your own. Like I said, it's $10 on Steam. It released March 8th, 2018. So depending on when you're watching this, either it releases tomorrow or it's already out, and you guys can pick it up. You can pick it up now. It's still in early access for at least another, so many hours. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, hit that like button, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.